Hey, 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 what up,
Hi.
everybody?
What are you
We did
doing?
have Ant for a split second, but
Just a little technical difficulties.
he's having technical difficulties.
He'll be right back.
But we are excited that we will have all three of us back finally.
I know. I'm way excited.
You got your angles?
Hey.
Angled correctly? You good? We can't hear you.
So weird, you guys. Okay,
It's the
we're
angle.
good.
It's angles.
I can't believe your production team is slacking today.
I
You should
know.
fire
You
them.
They're off today.
You gave him the day off.
Yeah.
Jammin Lou never does anything right.
Yeah, he went to a ball. He went to a ball today.
A ball.
He should be serving you coffee or something.
I know. Well, I have no water, so it doesn't matter. I can't even have coffee.
Oh, text though, real quick. Like you did verify like time zones, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me.
Well,
I'm bad
about the zonage.
Yeah, he did. He said 8 p.m. Central, and I said yes.
It just doesn't really make sense to me, the time zone thing. It still doesn't. I don't think it's ever going to. I just don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like that it's only 8 o'clock. We're Texas, but it's 9 o'clock for us. Like that doesn't make sense. It's just an hour.
That's true.
So, what are you proposing? Are you gonna be like the guest?
I'm not proposing anything because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So I really shouldn't be proposing anything.
So
It's just an inconvenience in my life.
So, Kat, I have something for you that came across my page today.
Ooh, what's up?
And there has been a galactical shift. Don't laugh, Tex. This is for real. This is a Mandela effect. It just happened. I'm going to blow your guys' mind.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm going to ask y'all a question first.
Okay.
When you pull up to Home Depot, does it say the Home Depot or Home Depot as of current?
Home Depot.
Okay. Thank you. Here you go. Are you ready? Are you ready to fall out?
I have like a little Home Depot apron that my kid has somewhere.
Hold on.
So I'm at Home Depot today, and I was at Home Depot on Friday. When I went to Home Depot on Friday, it just said Home Depot. My granddaughter said right now, Nana, how come that there's a the in front of Home Depot?
What the?
It's always been the Home Depot, right?
No, it has not.
Yeah, it has.
Paradigm shift recently.
Dimensional shift.
No, look.
Yesterday I felt it.
I remember it being Home Depot, but that's the point of a Mandela effect is that some people.
Look, everybody's
Right.
saying it's always been the Home Depot.
Wait.
You're not understanding what a Mandela effect is.
Stop it. Stop bringing everyone's comments up for 1 second. Because I know you hate that. You hate the fact that there's a galactical shift. Like, I know you hate that. I have a Home Depot card. It says the Home Depot on everything besides the building.
Besides the building.
Has always said Home Depot. I don't care what all these people say in the comments, even your beautiful wife. I was just at Home Depot 4 days ago. It said Home Depot. It did not say
that's how I see it in my head too.
Did not.
Look, I used to be an assistant regional manager for Home Depot. It's always been
Wait,
Home
hold
Depot.
on. Were you an assistant regional manager or were you the assistant to the regional manager?
I'm not saying that the company.
Sorry, it was an office joke, and I had to.
I'm not saying it's not called the Home Depot. That's not what
You're just saying that, like on the building, you remember it being like Home Depot.
Correct.
Well, we have Officer Ash here, so Officer Ash.
Yeah, that's a good pull-in. It's a good pull-in. Do you remember?
He can help solve this. He can help solve this.
Shows like I was going to introduce him. Like there was a whole thing.
I know.
We're just going to jump right in.
Here.
I mean, he's got to solve this debate for us. I mean,
Tax isn't allowed to control it anymore.
And now I'm here.
And now you're here for the great Home Depot debate.
Does it say the Home Depot on the sign of the building, or does it just say Home Depot?
Just Home Depot.
See, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
Oh, see, see, that's what happens when you lie. See, he's lying. I mean, they just kicked him out. I mean, geez, that's what happens.
Nobody's lying.
Officer Ash is
Just
awesome.
difference of
You
opinion.
got it. You know what's crazy is that I was pulling up stuff to do your video today. You were our first ever guest as Freedom Fam.
I know. I remember.
I didn't realize that until today.
Yeah. No, it's been a long
9
time.
months ago.
Yeah,
Was it 9 months?
Yeah.
been 9 months.
Someone
So
told
what's
me
been
that.
going on for the last 9 months?
I mean, what hasn't, right? So like,
Can you do a recap, just real quick, like of your story, like a short
Yeah,
version
sure.
of your story, just so that those that weren't in here before
Yeah.
know?
Okay,
the elevator pitch. Yeah, so I was a police officer at Dunwoody, in Dunwoody, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. And while I was a cop, I found out that the lieutenant was targeting officers sexually, as well as civilians, which I found out really actually through TikTok, because I had TikTok open the door for civilians to message me and stuff. And they started telling me about all kinds of interesting things that I was unaware of. And but yeah, so I spoke out on TikTok Live first. I had some funny police videos and said how I was being harassed, not the same way as the other officers, but I said I was being harassed. And it led to me saying I was going to get a lawyer. And then all of a sudden they came to my house and took my gun and badge and said that I was under investigation for speeding in my patrol car. And so typically in that scenario, if someone takes your gun and badge, there's a 90% chance that you're going to be terminated. And that's actually like from like the actual like IA book in Georgia. So yeah, and so I had actually at that point I'd already started kind of working with officers at our department. We kind of had already started communicating and gathering evidence. And what I had learned at that point was that the lieutenant was doing all those crazy things and just how many hundreds of messages and years of stuff that had gone on. And
I think
so
they got
when
you for like a light violation, didn't they? Just like
yeah,
checking
having
your
my
light.
lights and sirens on or something. So he didn't have a policy on how you had to check your gear, but we had a policy that you had to check your gear before you got to work. And they were writing me up for things like wearing a hat indoors, which was a department issued hat, like things that weren't policy violations. And so it got to the point where I was like, okay, like this is a problem, right? And so I started speaking out about it, at least on TikTok Live, and that helped motivate me to speak out. And then they drove to my house, took my gun and badge, and I was like, you know what? They said it was untruthful whenever they asked me about it, which is not the case. And I was able to prove that finally. And yeah, led down this crazy road where like I went from like 10, 15,000 followers on TikTok to being on Freedom Fam to having, I think 180,000. I kind of stopped posting. So I kind of lost a little momentum there. And now I serve on the board of a nonprofit that we protect ethical police officers around the country. So I've heard cases from NYPD and helped those officers. I've heard cases from all the way out in like Torrance, California to small towns and large departments and stuff. And like, it's always the same, right? They go after whistleblowers for untruthfulness because it makes it so you can't testify in court. So the most recent update, I guess, for my case is, and sorry, I had to run up the stairs. I'm kind of out of breath because I was running late, which is always the case. I think I was late last time too.
Oh, it's fine. Like, we just chit chat before you get in.
And it's like, yeah, you were.
So, I remember. It's our first show.
I've been guilty of it too, though, Austin. So
I have to.
I feel like we're all so busy now these days, especially because like social media is just growing, right? And I get so many messages. But in my case, I won. And on December 10th, I think that was actually after I was on your podcast. December 10th, I was on page 2, not the cover, page 2 of USA Today across the nation. And I helped another
Thanks to the
officer.
Freedom Fam podcast.
Thanks to the
Right?
Freedom. I'm just
Right. Yeah, I was wearing a t-shirt. I was like,
You're our first show too, guys.
vote Cat for president. So
Thank you.
And then it led down this other like kind of crazy road where like I had been on the news so many times. I was interviewed by the news just like yesterday, and it kind of at this point I've kind of like been desensitized to it, right? Like it's not even a win for me. It's just at this point it's like talking about other officers, talking about what happened, and talking about like how things need to change, right? And then like we have crazy stuff that happens like with the school shooting recently and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I had a feeling that eventually at some point, just because of the nature of what we're talking about, that would come up. So, so there's always these waves where people will follow me and message me and other cops that want to speak out about things that could be different. And So now I won after I spoke to you guys. I won with the Department of Labor at their board of review. So that was after I lost 2 appeals. I won at the highest level by arguing that there was no evidence for what they fired me for, which there really wasn't. And I won by getting them to reverse lower decisions. And then I actually just won my certification back as a peace officer about 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So I can
Oh my
go and
gosh, that's
work
amazing.
as a police officer. Yes, I know. Thank you. I
That's
don't know if I will,
amazing.
but yeah, they
That's
gave me back my
big.
certification, and it was revoked for about a year. But the crazy part is the way they gave it back, right? So they looked at everything. I had lost my appeal with the certification board, and they looked at everything, and unexpectedly, out of nowhere, they gave it back, and they actually nullified everything from before. So now it's like I never lost it. So now if I were to fill out a resume, I could actually say, oh, I've been a certified officer for 5 years versus back then, like 4, whatever. So
Right.
however much time I've lost.
Oh, wow.
So they nullified everything. They said the city had no evidence of me being untruthful, and that, yeah. And so here I am now, just living my best life.
I love
So-
that so much because your whole demeanor is just different than the last.
Yeah,
I know,
would
isn't
say
it?
it
Yeah.
By side, like the confidence because like you're vindicated. And when we first
Yeah.
started talking to you, like you were going through the shit,
Yeah.
the
It
total.
was
shit.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was intense, right? Like, and there's been a lot of character development moments, right? Like, and I think for me, it was a big thing of like getting contacted constantly by officers, like NYPD, right? Getting like people that are like sergeants reaching out and being like, and talking to them on the phone, and then hearing their story and realizing like it was similar to like this little town in just north of Atlanta, right? So, like I've come to terms with like myself and who I am and stuff. And the hard part is like I used to, and you guys maybe remember this. I said this at the end of our episode last, which was something I always say to officers is, you know, they can take your gun, they can take your badge, they can't take away the fact that you were a cop. And your crime was you police the police. And it doesn't matter like bipartisan, doesn't matter how you identify with politics. It doesn't matter, right? This happens on both sides.
Yeah.
And you know, we serve the public regardless of you know of what we believe and what politically and all this other stuff. We continually still serve, and so by doing that, by being a whistleblower, you're fulfilling that ultimate goal. And what's crazy is every time I ever said that I said I had my certification revoked, and so technically I wasn't a cop, and I was like, yeah, you know, they can take your gun, they can take your badge, they can never take away the fact that you're a cop. It turns out that in all reality, because of the way they nullified it, I actually still technically on paper had my certification. So
Right.
I actually technically still was a cop that whole time I said it. And that's just because we fought so hard to show the world what happened, right? So here I am.
Do you
Wow.
plan on getting back in?
So that's that's actually a really common question the news keeps asking me. And what I've said to two different news outlets is, you know, I've always said I would. I just don't know when or what that will look like. I will make sure to keep my certification active from now on. And so it could be a couple years down the road. It could be next month. I mean, but for me, a big thing is like making sure that we finish our fight, that other officers don't feel the way that I felt when I spoke out, and making sure that there are extra protections in Congress and stuff. So another big thing I guess I forgot to mention, which I don't know how I forgot, was I helped be a part of SIGLE, which is a law that they're voting on in Congress, which protects police whistleblowers and citizens across the country. And so that was a big development because that was introduced into Congress. So now if you go to the Library of Congress, it doesn't say Freedom Fam, I'm sorry, but if you go to the Library of Congress, you can actually find me. I tried. I was like, you know, Ant
set
should
it
be
up
in there
to
too.
get
but I heard Ant was banned, and so they banned him from Congress too. So I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I'm permanently banned from Congress, so it makes sense.
That would make sense. So have all the officers that were involved in the situations that you unveiled, were they held accountable or?
No, not at all. So the most of them were promoted that were on the opposite side of the spectrum. Even the ones that were promoted or got special jobs, like going to K9, being the brand new K9 unit and stuff, they left and went to other industries. One person became a flight attendant, one person went and worked for Facebook. Other people went and just like went to other departments or got promoted, right? Like the person that conducted my internal affairs investigation that accused me of lying. Well, actually two people. So one person that accused me of lying was promoted to major from lieutenant. The major that conducted my internal affairs investigation, which is crazy, right? Because an IA should never be done by a major, but they realized they knew what they were doing, right? the major is now the deputy chief, second in command of the police department. And I ran into him face to face whenever I went, and I saw you on the video you made that when I was like talking in front of the city council.
That looked intense. Like that whole video. So you look so intense in that. Like that had to just
I was
be
like terrified, right? Like I had no idea what I was going to do. But one of the cops that was a whistleblower on my side of everything that spoke out, it's been in the news side by side with me in the USA Today. Brian Bolden, an African American prisoner transport officer, he spoke out, and we've been best friends ever since. And he actually they put him under internal affairs investigation for violating the public criticism policy, and they fired him eventually, right? And so what you saw there was me actually going to city council and me entering the police department for the first time since everything happened to me. Since the last time I had stepped foot in there was probably for when I was meeting with the chief to fire me. And so that was me stepping in foot in the building for the first time and approaching the city council face to face for the first time and being like, hey, like you just fired this officer for violating public criticism policy. And you found out in the final report when they fired him that he actually never violated the public criticism policy. Why? Because we put him in the news, right? We put it all out in the news that they were going to get him for violating public criticism.
Now, what is that?
Oh, you're not allowed to publicly criticize the police department or any of the commanders, which now let's be fair. He never publicly criticized the police department. He criticized the chief because the chief had covered up the lieutenant that was sexually harassing people. So
he would have had to go public if something would have just been done about it to begin with.
Well, exactly. But it's always about like, it's this mixed game of like colors, right? Like you never really know like what the true color is that they're getting rid of you for. So we knew that they were going after him because they tried to write him up for other things before then, just like they did for me in the hat. Right. Mm-hmm. And you know what? And while I'm, just thinking about it. So just because I want to wear a hat, just to say, F them. So if they're watching, because I'm sure they are. The reality is like,
Ryan, I'll start it here.
we hate you. So so he actually he found out that one of the people involved in the initial investigation, actually after I spoke to you guys, that person was he was arrested for DUI. We found out that sergeant that was like big in this big ring and stuff that was reported below that lieutenant. He was arrested for DUI, and he had been arrested for DUI on duty in the past, or like he was on call. And so we were afraid, all of us, that he was going to get away with it again, right? So he was on probation as a sergeant in the police department. So he was the admin sergeant because he was on probation. So he couldn't, so like imagine a cop arrests you or something, and you find out later that cop's on probation, right? Like that makes no sense.
No.
So we found out that he got arrested for DUI again in our own city that we worked at. And so we were all shocked. Brian actually went down there on his off time in his own personal car, walked in. The jail knew him. He didn't ask for admission, like to be like, oh, let me in. They let him in because they knew him. And he's like, I just want to look up this guy in the system. He looked him up. And then the lady at the jail offered the photo and he didn't say no. So he got a copy of the mugshot. We released it to the news. And then very quickly they brought him in for public criticism and for releasing sensitive materials. Essentially, you'll love this one, and I'll finish with this. You guys will love this one. So
it's a blasty blast. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Here it comes.
Who has read it?
It's not a good thing either. I mean, for you, it's not. For me,
it's horrible. Don't ever read your Reddit anything. Don't download the app. Don't even do it. I won't even download the app. Don't do it. It's horrible. It's just all your hate stuff. If you're on social media, that's all.
Look at his face. Like he's just like.
Don't go.
Sorry,
what were you
So I'll finish with this.
Shit, am I on that thing?
Oh, I'm sure. So
Austin, you might be on there.
Who knows? Probably. At this point, right? So Brian, they fired him eventually, and they cited totally different reasons for the investigation. They said that they fired him for releasing or for accessing that photo that he wasn't supposed to, even though it was given to him. And for getting a second job and not getting approval first. He got a second job, and he says this in one of my videos that I posted in the audio. He got a second job working at FedEx because he knew the police department was going to fire him. And he actually asked the chief in the audio recording we released in the final interview, Chief, how did I violate my authority, my position, whatever? And the chief says, this is not an opportunity for you to ask questions. This is a chance for you to explain what you did and why you did it. And then he gets mad, and you can hear it in his voice. And Brian's like, I'm just trying to understand like why these are the policies I'm being charged with. And pretty much chief ends the interview and sends Brian home, fires him the next day, drives to his house, right? Now, remember, they drove to my house and fired me. They drove to my house a total of 3 times during the investigation to notify me I was under investigation, notify me the findings of the IEA, and to terminate me. And then they drove to Brian's house, or they tried to several times, but Brian would just not answer the phone and then would go to the police department. And then but they never drove to the lieutenant's house. They never took his gun and badge. His certification was never put in jeopardy. But Brian very soon will have to start fighting for his, and he was only a prisoner transport officer, so he had a jailing certification, not even a police officer certification. So
all these guys that did that shit against you all got promoted and having prestigious jobs and whatnot, while you had to fight for your career to get it back at least.
I had to fight for everything, man. And yes, they filed 880 pages in the court fighting my unemployment benefits. They paid $30,000 to a law firm to write this 880 pages for my unemployment benefits that were $10,000. So. And still, like, that's, I guess that's
like, you would think the citizens of that town would be furious about this, because imagine it's probably not that large of a town since it's a suburb, right?
So about 70,000 people, and then we just so happen to have like one of the largest malls in the southeast, so they get up to like 50,000 cars a day on the main road. But it's a smart city, right? It was formed out of a section of Atlanta, so
not too smart if they're allowing the police
right. I
department
know, smart
to
spend
spend $30,000 to save $10.
All together with our case, they have spent.
That you still want to do this, like you still would go into a police department and work. Like, doesn't that worry you though? Like, I mean, because you're very open about it. You put your face all over the place. Aren't you worried that when you go into another department, though, that they're going to be like,
yeah,
that guy?
Well, I mean, and that's fine, right? Like, so the reality is like, if I would have signed up for the job being afraid of adversity, then I never would have signed up for the job, right? I was not the kid that grew up as a little kid wanting to be a cop because my dad was a firefighter, my mom was on an ambulance. I didn't grow up wanting to be a cop, and it just kind of happened. I lost a bet in college, and funny story there too. But the bet I lost was to go to the police physical fitness test, and it ended up with me getting a job offer by the time they had gone through the whole process. And I took it, and I ended up falling in love with it. But like, they were investigating me for having too many positive comments from citizens, like compliments, like online forums. They
positive comments.
It was your
what a bad thing.
Yep. Well, and then they were like, well, why do you have all these positive comments and no one else does? Well, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's pretty clear. It's because I went to like hundreds of more calls than other people a month. It's because I cared enough to like just be nice to people, right? But to kind of like answer your question, like the most important part for me, I think, is like, I would not want my children one day, I don't have them right now, but one day children to grow up in a world where a police department where stuff like this happens. Like, where you have a cop that can get away with stuff like this, and then other cops are allowed to just be rude to people, mean to people like that. No, that's not the world we should live in, and we have the opportunity to change it. So let's do it.
So now that they've reversed everything, can you sue? Do you plan on suing? Is that something you're even able to talk about?
Oh yeah. So, and I've been very open about that from the beginning too. So like, I don't think that when it comes to you're suing a police department that it should be private, right? And the courts maybe will rule against me on this just for saying that, and that's fine. Let them do it because I'll set precedent. That's fine. Because the reality is that like you're suing the government for something that happened where other officers, more so than me, but other officers that were actually like pretty much sexually assaulted by this person were victims, right? And this is happening around the country, and so it's important for everyone to know what's happening, right? Transparency is key. And so we've been suing for almost 2 years, a little over 2 years, I guess. And we've been waiting for the EEOC to finish their investigation. They've been under active investigation for over 2 years. because of COVID happened, things slowed things down. But because we have had a pending EEOC investigation for 2 years, our clock is paused. So there is no like statute of limitations or like when we would run out of the opportunity to file. So we have plenty of time to do that. So yeah, no, I mean, we're still gonna, I mean, like the fight, even though I got my certification back, which is a huge win for me personally, what that meant for me was they couldn't ruin my life anymore.
Right.
You know, I cleared my own name. I actually applied. Our city has a thing where, like, if you get fired, you can apply for a name clearing hearing, where you go in front of the citizens and you say what your side of what happened or whatever. Well, they denied me mine, and I don't think anyone has ever actually had one. But you know, I cleared my own name.
Right.
I made it very clear what I did and what I didn't do. And everyone that I ever talked to that's like, hold on, so they went after you for speeding in your patrol car? They're like, oh, I've seen a million cops speed in their patrol car. And I was like, no, they went after me for untruthfulness, because when they asked me if I was speeding my patrol car, I said yes, but I said no. And so they said I lied, and it never happened. There was no evidence of it, which is why everyone is reversed in my favor, because they realized that there is no evidence of this. Just because a police department writes an internal affairs report and says, this guy did this, that piece of paper, because I was like I was already a whistleblower at the time. There was a stake in this, right? Like they had a stake in actually discrediting me. So at that moment, their internal affairs document has the same weight, no matter how many pages you put in it, as me writing on a sticky note saying I didn't do it.
Right.
It's hearsay, right? So you need a third-party agency to come in, and funny enough, every agency that comes in looks at us and goes, yeah, that was wrong. What the heck? Yeah. So fight still continues. Yeah, I mean, my big thing now is like just fighting for cops around the country, guys, girls. They all reach out and they're like, hey, I need help. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's next. And I need resources. And so we run a support group and all kinds of stuff. I'm sorry?
Are you guys working on a movie?
Yeah, so we've been working on Rogue Blue since before our last podcast with you guys. And Rogue Blue was the hashtag I started on TikTok when this all first happened. And I think as of now, it has like up to 4.5 million views or something. But we started working on it. We went around the country shooting this like adrenaline film kind of like style, like jumping off cliffs and doing stuff, showing how like I was sitting in my patrol car, right? I was terrified. I was like, I wanted to vacation. I wanted to do things. I wanted to live my life and just be happy. And fast forward, I spoke out. And even though they tried to ruin me, here I was jumping off cliffs, seeing the Northern Lights, going in ice caves and seeing volcanoes and swimming in all kinds of places. So like originally the idea was it was not going to be me. It ended up being me in the film. So we put the film on pause for about maybe a year and a half because we wanted to get the end of what was going to happen. So I think that at the point we're at now with National Whistleblower Day coming up, we're going to go ahead and close up the film, finish editing it. Because like, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like, you know, I won back my certification. And again, the biggest thing I've ever said is, you know, they can take your gun, they can take your badge, but they can't take away the fact you're a gun. And that's like kind of the closing to the film.
Well, and now they get it back, and it's still not going to change everything that you've learned going up. Like, not only are you vindicated, but you're a stronger person because of it. Other people are stronger because of it and feel more confident, because there's such a stigma on whistleblowers. And then to have the stigma of being a police officer whistleblower is like, whoa, right? Because there's like that code.
No, you're right.
Brotherhood, and you're not supposed to do it and look the other way. And that's how we wind up with bad cops, and we can't have bad cops. That's like the area that we need the best people in.
Well, like, you know, the reality is when it comes to policing is like, and this is, I think, something that like in my official statement that went into like the Library of Congress, and I'm going to kind of butcher a little bit of it because it was very well prepared, and I'm not going to prepare it for you, which is like, you know, people go after these cops for doing nothing more than what we asked of them, policing, right? Mm-hmm. We asked them to, if you see something wrong, to do something about it, to speak up, to go after the bad guy. That's the whole idea. And that's exactly what happened. And right now there are no protections. There is no way for those people to get around that. And it shouldn't be that way, not just for policing, but for anybody, right? Like human nature, I still believe is good. I believe most police officers start their career good. I believe that a lot of police officers serve their career very valiantly, and they finish and they have a wonderful career, and they're great people. Mm-hmm. But it's these bad cops, right? It's the opportunity. Like good cops need to know they can speak out. And I guarantee you what people are like, wow, there's all these people speaking out. There's all these cops that are saying something now. And it's like, yeah, it's because they were always saying something. But now you have social media. Now people are starting to see stories like mine and others where there's like, oh yeah, I can totally say something, right? I mean, I was afraid. I think whoever made the video for tonight, you saw the backstabbing trader comment. Cat, I thought so. I think that's why I said thanks for making this, Cat. You know, and like those are comments I've always gotten. Right. You know, but those are comments I've always gotten. They're like backstabbing trader, and it's like, and I always have gotten those comments. I used to be like, man, and it used to really get to me, right? And now it's just like, you know what, I'm gonna put you on display for everybody, because the reality is like, this is not appropriate, this is not okay, and you're part of the problem, and you need to go.
And I really wanted to put that one in there because I remember the way that you were during the first podcast. Like you were very beaten down the first time around. Like you were going through it. You were tired. You were exhausted. You had that like fight in you, but it's nothing like it is now. And it's important that people know, like, even though you're very confident now and you won it back, and like you went through hell, absolute hell to get where you are now. And I think it's always important to showcase that. Always.
Thank you.
But you're a backstabbing trader for what exactly? For exposing sexual
We're going against the blue code.
Oh, I mean, even worse than that, I exposed how
sexual.
the major had stolen 50 guns from evidence. I remember us laughing about that. But, you know, the major had been found in possession of 50 guns out of the evidence locker before he worked at our department. You know, and how the chief investigated himself, released a 150-page report releasing officers, again, not mine, clear as day, not mine, officers' nude photos to the news. There were no nudes of Austin. Okay. I feel like I always have to say that. But they released all these, and then they said, oh yeah, this was consensual, right? So it goes way beyond the harassment and the assault, right? So, and that's the point, right? Like, so a lot of times, like people, I have one comment, I think even today, that was like, that's why, like you talking to Ant, like, don't read the Reddit, right? Same thing. I go through my comments, I try to respond to a lot to keep traction and stuff. And I try to like keep personal with most people. Cause like, to me, it is really important that people know, like I announced, I think I messaged Ant the night that I found out that I won. And we did like a TikTok live duet with a few people, and we, popped champagne, and
I saw your video, but I wanted to put that one in there. I loved that one. I was like, that's awesome.
Thank you. And, so we talked about that, and what was big for me was realizing, like, even though I had stepped away from TikTok a lot over the last year, it was like, this is why. It was the people that were like, hey, you can do this. Hey, you can keep fighting. It was the messages I got through TikTok from other cops that needed help. I got messages from like the Brazilian police, Brazil, like probably the most corrupt police department in the world. And they're messaging me like, hey, the state police or the national police. And they're like, hey, we support you. First off, that's crazy as fuck. But second, I was like, oh, yeah. But thank you. But also what? And, but like I have international support from people. So, and so I finished, I decided, I met with like my family, and I met with everybody, my friends. I was like, let's that first night focus on TikTok. And we were going to celebrate the next night, but then I found out I had COVID. So then we put it on pause, but I'm good now. I'm good now.
Did you get sick or did you not get sick?
I got a little sick. It was my second time with COVID. The first time I was like deathly sick though.
I thought I saw Jesus for a minute with that stuff. Holy cow. You could have. That was nuts. The fever was nuts.
And then you realized it was Ant the whole time. You thought it was Jesus, and you're like,
it was just
like, Anthony, what are you doing here?
Well, it's funny. You talk about the international support. Pakistan and other Muslim countries called Ant, and they support him for being gay. Now all of a sudden it's weird. I mean, they hate gays, but they called him and they said, hey, we support you being gay over in America. Just don't come here. We'll hang you.
Yeah.
So
wow. What a line to drop. You saw the mic just.
Can I read the Reddit that I just got sent or no?
No.
It's in your head. So I feel like we had a pretty good discussion last time. Read it. Let's talk about it.
Well, you just brought up the gay thing, so apparently.
I mean, we can like therapeutic this out. This hate.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Is it bad?
Well, without you reading it, let me say this then. Well, without you reading it, then let me say this anyway, right?
Yeah.
in this world, right? Like everyone has their own personal struggle, their own personal battle, right? And that struggle is not always a struggle to us, right? Like me fighting for corruption, fighting against corruption at one point was a struggle, but like it very much so became part of my like identity online, but also like part of my life. And other people will deal with adversity in a million other ways, right? But the reality is that we were like, whether you want to, you believe in this or you subscribe to this theory or not, I think we were selected for our own adversity, right? We were selected to fight this because we had the opportunity to change it. It's up to us to do that. And so we're going to get those negative comments. We're going to get those negative things. People are going to stand in our way. Let them stand in our way. That's just another person to knock over. That's fine.
And like I told you,
David
like
versus Goliath.
Of the person who's commenting it than it is of the person, because you bothered them that bad that they had to go to a totally different social media site to say what? They sign up, get a profile just to talk about you, and all you're doing is being on social media.
I will
not get Reddit. I saw Reddit start going around TikTok. I saw the way that how it affected people. I mean, like it really got to a lot of creators on that app, and it was very sad to watch it all kind of go down. I've wondered if I've made it over there. I know that I have made it over there. I don't read it. I'm
mad I haven't made it over there. I'm waiting on me.
So me and you are still cooler than Tox.
I'm pissed I haven't made it. I'm waiting for somebody.
I will say, though, I will not, moving forward, please don't send me this again, guys, whoever sent it.
No Reddit.
Yeah, no Reddit. Honestly,
don't do Reddit.
Yeah, I'm sure Officer Ash can probably vouch for, he's probably done the same thing. I like stopped reading the comments on like other social media platforms. And that's why, like, a lot of my friends, like you guys, but like Barbie, sometimes be like, "Oh, did you see the comment that I posted?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "How the fuck did you not see the comment?" I'm like, "I don't read the comment sections anymore. I just don't." Because
I'm usually pretty good about not reading them. Lately, though, I've noticed that I'm reading comment sections again. So, like, I need to back up again for a hot second and go back to my happy place.
It's just to put me into a bad spot. It puts anybody in a bad spot.
Recognize that in yourself, like, and be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have been reading that." Like I just did. Like, I was reading comment sections and snap it off. Not that the people didn't deserve it, because they did, but it's not typically how I would do things. So, like, I got to take a step back and be like, "You're triggered, chick. Sit down." Go watch.
Yeah, I get triggered when I don't have hate comments, because then I'm like, what am I doing
That's
wrong?
what I was just gonna say. Like, there are people that have.
I try hard to get hate. I haven't gotten any in a while. I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself.
But there are people that have different strengths. Especially
I get it.
Being on a social media platform, you are fueled by haters.
I'm absolutely fueled by hate.
Yeah, you are fueled
by. Man, I'm not on Reddit. Damn it.
I am fueled by
on Reddit tonight. I'm gonna go take out all my anger from a troll account against Text tonight on Reddit.
My rape comment didn't make it. My vaccine,
Walmart
comment didn't make it. Like, I'm grasping for air here, man.
They know you want it, so they're not gonna put you on there. But I would like.
And Ant's strength was. I know he was waiting. I saw it.
I want to hear Officer Ash's lost a bet story, though, because it's like almost I got to hear it, because everybody in the comments wanted to hear it too. How did you lose a bet to become a cop?
So, unsurprising about my backwards hat right now, so I'll turn it around. I was president of my fraternity in college, and at the end of my presidency, we had a bet. We were out drinking one night, and they were like, "Oh, if you lose," which it literally was like rock, paper, scissors, which was like my fault because I had drank too much, right? Because it was just such a huge bet to take, which was that I was going to go and apply for the university police department, or just attend their physical fitness test, because that was the first phase. And it was literally like the following day. It was early in the morning. I was like, first off, how do you know that? And second, yeah, let's do it. And then I lost, right? So, and then I showed up, and out of 27 people that showed up to the physical fitness test, only 3 of us passed. And so it really quickly became, take this test. And I was like a college kid that was like slightly hungover. So I was just like, okay. And so I just took this test, and by the end, like pretty much of that day, they were like, yeah, here's a conditional offer, and I was just I kind of like felt a little bad, and I was like, maybe this is the universe, whatever. And so I decided I was like, I'll take it, and so I only stayed there for a little under a year, and before I went to a larger department, but. No, yeah, I totally lost that bet, and I still give that person crap for that.
College bet to being all over the news as an advocate for whistleblowing.
Which is why I tell Ants, I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. Don't read the comments, bro. I mean, like, it took me a long time to be able to read the comments. I mean, like, the things I got, especially in my DMs from, like, cops. I mean, even just, like, a comment I got today, like, I could give you a good example, was, and it used to affect me so bad, but, like, from today, it was from some fake account, and it was like, oh, I read your story, and the news headline should have read, corrupt cop lies to save his own ass, or something. And it was like, bro, I spoke out about other officers being victimized. It was like, if they wanted to fire me for speeding my patrol car, then there would be no cops out there in this world. Like, they got rid of me for other reasons. Let's be clear. And but the reality is like, you're always going to get the negative stuff. You're always going to get, and some of them are way worse. I won't even mention. But we've had our lives threatened. We've had like, oh, like you're making it bad for cops everywhere. You shouldn't even like, all kinds of stuff. And like, for doing nothing more again than what the public asked of us. And I would argue to say, like, for you, like, doing nothing more than what, like, you ask of yourself, right? Like, you want to be this personality, be yourself, be
like
who you are.
Right? You're a Turning Point representative now. You have other big, huge things that we're not allowed to talk about out loud now.
We can tell people today.
I'm offended, I don't know.
Today?
Oh, that I get to be here for it?
Or... You want to tell people today?
Well, I'm just waiting for I'm just waiting for the call tomorrow, but it's something that we're working on. Mm-hmm. So I did get reached out to by a news network as well. So I'm just waiting to get the finalized date and time because of the holiday. The news anchor wasn't on. So those are the things that and it's exciting, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch.
Sure.
But then you got little small d energy on a troll account talking about Reddit.
Yeah, no, I get it. I never knew about Reddit. I didn't even know.
Oh my god, I'm shocked that I haven't downloaded it, to be honest. But I think that if I do, it would just be horrible for
breaking news. Ant is going to work for CNN.
I'm not.
They would probably. That place.
Hey, listen, they had Kayleigh McEnany on there, and she did phenomenal on there.
They did. Because they will pull on like Republican people.
I will gladly say it is not CNN, folks. So no worries.
Full transparency, authenticity there.
It's MSNBC.
Microsoft News.
That guy, Rachel Maddow.
Going on The View.
Yeah, he's going on The View with Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh my god, I would tear them all up.
He's going on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
I just wonder how long they would like be live, Like, would it even last or
we'll be right back.
They would like go cut away to like another screen and just be screaming in the background and yelling at people.
Grab his MAGA hat and slip it on.
I would say all you would hear in the audio is like the brim and then the flick, and then that'd be it. They'd have to cut away.
You on The View, like with your coffee, like tapping your coffee. Whoopi, go. Like, I got you in a minute.
And then she's like, okay, go, Ant. All right, here we go.
Hey!
What was crazy to me when talking to Ant recently was Ant. I messaged him about like the TikTok like duet thing, and I sent it to like a bunch of like not a bunch of people. I didn't like Ant. I promise I wasn't like just roping you in, but like I sent it to anybody that was like a part of my story along the way, and of course you guys all like counted because I think I sent a message to Texan as well. And
that got banned. I've been getting
Texan
banned.
wasn't even ready.
You have to do better with checking your Snapchat.
Are you talking about the live?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was funny because I messaged Texan and I was like, "Hey, like, yeah, we should do this." He goes, he totally misread it. He's like, yeah. So some good tips are, and I'm like, we're like, we have champagne bottles. We're like trying to schedule people, and Texan's like, yeah. So like some good tips if you go live, and I'm like, bro, you're not reading the message. Like,
I was like, oh wait, are you asking me to go live with you?
And then I message Ant. Ant goes, I was banned. And I go, okay, well, there goes the top of the list right there. There goes 2 right off the top. And so we ended up going live with like another whistleblower and stuff. And that was a good conversation too. She blew the whistle in Texas. Her name is KP. She blew the whistle in Texas. She runs the KP, hers is KP_FitCops, I think, on Instagram, but she runs the FitCops page, which has a bunch of people in there on Instagram. And she blew the whistle on ticket quotas, which I thought were outlawed, right? But she blew the whistle on ticket quotas, and they're coming after her. And so she just started her fight about a year ago.
Quotas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that wasn't a thing anymore.
Oh yeah, no, it is. And she blew the whistle on it. Now they're finally coming after her and stuff. So we went live, and we were talking about starting a podcast as well, because her husband is also a cop, and so they blew the whistle together and stuff. And so it's interesting, but KP is a little more. I think because the Congress side of things, guys, I think I got way too professional, like way too like spoken and stuff. KP is like the crazy version of me. She'll just say some stuff. She's kind of like Ant.
You gotta have like one of each. Like they ban.
Right? Yeah. No, for sure.
I'm Italian.
What?
You're right.
I'm Italian, not Hispanic.
Same thing.
That's why we can't take him anywhere. Like, I
Literally why Tex can't go anywhere.
again, top of the TikTok duet list, just off. Literally just see nothing but community violations on my upcoming posts.
Always.
So, well, yeah. And so that, what was crazy also, like what's hard, similar to Ant being banned off TikTok, is for me, like these cops will come in and people will report your posts and be like, oh yeah, like this is dangerous. So they actually took my post down for about a day or so of that last one, the backstabbing trader one, saying it was dangerous. It's like, I was in the Grand Canyon at the national park at a photo spot. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not like posting on there, like, I'm going to jump. Like, what are you talking about?
But here's the thing. Tex just sent me something today, and it was like a woman literally pulling her whole breasts out on TikTok and a baby sucking on her
She
boob.
did like several angles too.
Before the baby even came to her boob, she was just like,
both of them out.
And I'm like, and I've literally done a sound bite that's from TikTok and gotten a community guideline violation.
Right.
It's
Same.
always that one where you're like, I heard you bitches was looking for me when you come back. That one always gets like community.
Content violation.
Trash one. I don't. My mom told me not to burn trash.
Oh yeah.
That one gets you too.
Yeah, I mean that woman had everything out, and she like did like a couple angles with it too, with the kid not on there. I was like, what the hell? How is this allowed?
Yeah, and there I was.
But then Grand Canyon photos get removed.
And the national, and I messaged TikTok. I put in a feedback request, and I was like, and so like with my other, I won't bring them up here, but my other job, I actually run social media for a very large organization, and they brought me on, and like because of they saw my TikTok story, but I was able to get their posts up 400%. So like they kind of like let me have a little bit of freedom in some stuff, and like so I know how to message TikTok and kind of just kind of be more a little more direct than normal. And so I messaged them and I was like, hey, I'm at a national photo spot. Like, what do you want me to do? That's like, because like they're like participating in this could be dangerous. I was like, that was one thing when you put the tag on the video. It was another when like all of a sudden I log in, it's like this has been removed. It's like, what was the dangerous part? The fact that the guy said I was a backstabbing trader. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no,
like,
It is weird how they do it. I had one time I had the exact same video on the same account. Both got a content violation. Exact same video, right?
Mm-hmm.
One won the appeal, the other one lost the appeal.
That's why I tell a lot of people to
how does that happen?
Because
right? Like
we're addicted to by far the worst social media app in existence that doesn't really get your voice out there, but we're all addicted to it. Like we need to just say what it is. It's convenient. All the filters, we're used to it. It's extraordinarily user friendly.
We're so addicted to it. Ant came back.
Did he come back? Oh, now I'm offended. I can't even. When are you gonna tell me?
He's been back for like a month.
I Snapchat you like once a month. When were you gonna tell me?
Well,
you had like 9 times to tell me.
I snapped you
I
about
snapped you back.
show.
He's like, I just Snapchatted you.
I actually Snapchatted you back right before I joined.
No.
I answered text at the same time.
It's like I messaged him, but he never opened up my Snapchat, so I don't know.
Well, I try to be careful with Ant because last time I was on the show, I really kind of put him out there in front of everybody. I can't even remember what I called him out about, but I called him out about something, and I remember the fact that we all died hysterically laughing about it, and then I posted it anyway after that. So, I gotta be careful with Ant.
No, don't ever be careful with Ant. Just go full send on him.
Full send with Ant.
Especially on Reddit.
No,
what?
No, you need to have his Reddit removed.
Reddit.
There should be no Reddit for Ant.
No Reddit.
Not doing it. I'm not.
Well, that's what's crazy, right? Is like that's the world we live in. Is you get stuff like that. You get a Reddit, a subreddit, whatever, a topic about you for doing what? Like living your life. Like people are always always like that.
Now I gotta read it.
Okay.
No.
But say we have time. Well, I've already my big update.
Wait, you're a what? Wait, you're a paid app. Hey, did you sign an NDA too?
Yeah. Well,
Are you a part of our crew?
Here's what it is. Ready?
That's
this
the new
POS is gay and is disparaging Gay Pride Month. Many fought, were jailed, and even died for him to be open and enjoy the rights he has now. This paid MAGA grifter creep lost his account many times, and here he is again, paid to spew nonsense. On Reddit! They could have picked
a good photo. They even picked a good photo. I was about to say they didn't even pick a good photo. I'll say there's a million frames that they could have pulled of you.
It's a tabloid. It's a stupid, self-written tabloid magazine online by a bunch of insecure people who are upset that you're talented and good at what you do.
But why am I not on there?
Exactly what I just said.
Bro, you say that until you're on there.
No, I really do. I want to be on there.
You would love it. Because it's not like they don't, as far as I know, they don't do anything crazy like doxing, or as far as I know, I could be wrong, but it's literally just shit talking. That's it. It's like shit talking.
Yeah, it's like National Enquirer or Star Magazine. Yeah, it's all crap.
Star Magazine.
Sorry,
but like, remember, like those used to always be like bullshit articles. Where it's like Roseanne Barr eats 7 Snickers bars. Like it was like some random shit.
Right.
And they always caught them at like their worst moment.
Exactly, and that's what they're doing to you.
So the inflation.
Oh, actually, that kind of made me excited when I read it out loud.
I think I could buy 7 Snickers right now. Dude, gas just went up in my state. Big
I
time.
couldn't even get gas to get to the gas station. I mean,
yeah,
it went up
$5.
$5.90.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue that that's news. Yeah. I mean, like if she made it all the way to the gas station in 8.7, that's like a whole like $100 trip.
It is. That's an expensive trip to the gas station these days.
But what I will say is this, and really to everybody, including people watching, right, is like everyone reads books, everyone watches movies, everyone wants a Netflix show, everyone always makes the joke. They're like, oh yeah, my life could be on Netflix or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. The reality is like we live our lives in a place of like safety, and like everyone wants like things where it's simple and easy, and everyone loves us. No one's ever gonna love us fully for who we are, right? Like no one truly is, except for like your spouse, your family, your very close friends. And so the reality that you have to look at is like this is like a chapter book, right? This is your chapter book, like Conservative Ant, the book, right? Bro, you just got a great chapter. Read it. Well, that's the chapter. Read it. Like everyone wants adventure. Everyone wants to go out and do this crazy stuff. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're going out, you're posting, you're making people angry. This is the villain that arises that you defeat before the next big villain, right? Whether that be politics or whatever, right? So like, don't even worry about it. Texan, your chapter right now is probably Freedom Fan Podcast, so you're not at the Reddit level yet, but like that's like
I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, so like chapter 1 was
I'm gonna think of something crazy to say tomorrow now.
Can you not?
In one of your chapters, you advocated and built up a candidate who was running against another Republican governor for a gubernatorial race.
Yeah, but I'd like to be on Reddit.
Oh Lord!
I was trying
Why? Why? That's like trying to be on Twitter when Twitter's dying. Like
no, like I do like the hate. I get fueled by the hate, and so when I don't get hate, I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
You know, you could just pay someone to be mean to you.
Well, Heather's going to start one, she said.
She's going to start a Reddit for you?
Yeah,
I'll go
she's
to
gonna start a Reddit. Yeah. So, but yeah, I do genuinely enjoy hate. I don't know why. I guess what it is for me, in all honesty, is that people are so weak-minded that they allow somebody on the internet that they don't know to allow them to control their own emotions. So the fact that I can have that power over somebody is kind of thrilling because they allow me to have that power, that I can control their emotions, and they don't even know me. It's like
you should go to therapy.
Somewhere.
You should go to therapy. I mean, I feel like the podcast is therapy for you, but and you know, we love you, we do, and I love all of you guys.
Oh, well, checking for you, and I'm like, dude, just go check this guy.
It's like, you know, I feel like this is a call for help. So, in all reality, but no one, and I always bring back this book analogy all the time. Like people will talk about this, but Ant, what you're doing, exactly just like us, right? Like fighting our battle. This is David versus Goliath, right? This is you with a slingshot and just landing some well-placed shots. But guess what, man? They're not prepared for that, right? Like you're just, and that's exactly what's happening. You're making change so fast. You're showing different points of view, and people are like, "What the heck?" And it happened to us. It happened to us in a different way. And Texan, I'm sure that I feel like everyone, it's probably because you're conservative Texan. I feel like that's like a Texas thing, right? So maybe if you were conservative, like Californian or something, you would have your whole chapter book. But
I am moving to Michigan.
Oh, that works. See, that works.
Yeah.
That might be
chaos.
I mean, Kat's president, so I mean,
live was good today.
Texas.
I'm really waiting for Kat to fix the inflation rate.
I'm working on it. All right, I'm talking to Putin on the side. We'll get it figured out. His gas price.
He's rooting for Putin, y'all.
Texas. You're that meme where the girl has the fire going on behind her, and she's like,
yeah.
Not a doubt.
That would be like my political campaign sign. It would just come behind me, and I'd be like, "You sure about this?" 2020.
I feel like Texan is more like that dog in the burning room, and he's like, "This is fine.
This is fine.
This is fine."
I'd be the calm one. Hey,
I feel like,
we got this, guys. What are we doing?
Cats is probably like the taco commercial with the little girl where they lift her up, and it's like, why not both? That's
right.
Wait, mine would be in
the friendship perfectly.
In the room where the whole couch is torn apart, and he's the dog's sitting there, and it says, "I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened." The couch blew up.
I feel like the nature of what I do.
That's your face too to Jimmy every time too.
I know.
The nature.
He's like, we have how many people coming back to the house?
Yeah, why are there 7 people sleeping over?
Airbnb night. No, so I thought mine would be Pirates of the Caribbean where Johnny Depp is holding the jar of dirt, and he's like, "I got a jar of dirt." That's all the corruption.
Corruption.
So,
you got to send it on a high note, Officer.
I do have to say this before we finish, right? So Amber Heard, right? How are we feeling about this? I want to know. I really do.
I think that they're both completely. Because I'm sure you've seen this couple in your line of work. I'm sure a lot of people have known this couple at one point or another, to where they love each other very passionately and they fight very passionately, and they're constantly fighting and yelling. There were drugs involved. There were alcohol involved. There was unlimited money for them just to run around like it was a playground. I think they're both toxic. I think that they both physically hit each other, and I think they both defamed each other.
Yep. Ant, what do you think? I see you. You're holding your tongue just barely. I can see it.
I didn't watch it because I know that I might be a paid operative, and I'm not really concerned with them. But I remember when Johnny Depp talked shit. I remember when Johnny Depp talked shit about Trump, so I was never able to watch this trial from the beginning.
Okay, bias from the road.
Texan, what do you think?
Obsessed. It's bad.
I think it's dumb that we even watched it and aired it on TV.
Yeah, pretty much, right? I was interested to see exactly that.
Drive by a car accident, you're gonna look. Everyone looks at a car accident.
Yeah, you can look and walk at the same time, but when Especially, it bothered me more from like your anti-Hollywood people.
Yeah,
Because-
that's what I'm kind of referring to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't mind if like people are in Hollywood or like Hollywood and they go and do all the Hollywood things and they were engulfed in it. It's just for me, it was the hypocrisy. I feel like it was hypocrisy to be anti-Hollywood while being engulfed in a civil trial. This wasn't criminal, so it doesn't change anything.
But they weren't engulfed in the celebrityism of it. They were just engulfed in the ridiculousness of it. You know that was like 90% of it. Like the girl was pooping in bed, and like.
But who? Okay,
Terrible.
so right,
Terrible.
but guess who won out of the whole deal?
Well, not the pooper in the bed.
Yeah, everybody that was participating.
Let me be a part of
TV
the system
networks
where the bed
won.
pooper would have won. Okay, that's just unnecessary. I don't have time for that. Like,
No.
and that's the reality, right? Like, you don't in this world, and that's exactly what your Reddit is. And like, that's a great way for us to finish. Ant,
Your
don't let
Reddit.
them- don't let them poop on your bed, Ant. Like, don't let them poop on your bed. Live your best life, man. And don't let Amber come in and just poop on your bed. So
Reddit is
and
Amber.
that's yeah, I mean, you know. So but and like that's I think the reason I like to bring that up, especially like recently, is like even talking to the news. I think it's funny because it's a good change of pace, because people always go, yeah, that is strange how all that crazy stuff just happened in the news, but also there's all this corruption, there's all this like the people being bullied, like Ant. That's exactly what's happening. You're being bullied for doing what? Nothing more than talking about what you believe in, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, nobody takes more bullying than the two at the top, to be quite honest.
Yep.
My shit is like nothing compared to what the two up top have been.
Well,
Yeah,
Texan
Well,
asked
see,
for
but
it.
for me, I don't consider it bullying because I kind of ask for it because I don't mind it.
Yeah, but it's the things that are said are uncalled for. About
I don't mind it. Until certain things
Well, I
are
laugh
said.
about
Like
it
kind
now.
of crosses a, this isn't fun anymore line. Like, whoa, calm down there, buddy.
But see, I don't have the mindset like you guys. Like in that sense, like you guys are stronger than I am.
But
So
you develop
You develop it.
not
Yeah, you
like,
get there,
no.
right?
because you used to be much worse about it, to where that Reddit thing would have you would have just like left the podcast or been like, I'm done, whatever. Fuck
Oh
it.
yeah, it's kind of funny.
But you've gotten better with it, and eventually, like, none of it
Now
bothers
you're
you.
seeing my point of view.
It makes your skin thick real quick.
Yeah, I mean,
Real
I,
quick.
I kind of a little bit like my booty puckered a little. I was like, ooh, that's a good one. I'm a
Right.
drifter.
Right.
You've heard
That's
me.
why this is why we can't take you anywhere. So
Oh no,
Yeah.
you legitimately can't take.
I would have been
Ant
like,
anywhere.
I would have brought him to like whenever we were talking to like Congress, been like, hey, this is my friend Ant. He has some similar things to talk about. And it would have been like, yeah.
And he would have been
so-
like, Sheila Jackson, why do you have a mask on? What
No,
are
he
you
would have.
doing over
He
there
would
with
have
that
looked at
mask
everybody and been
on?
like, yeah.
You would just stroll in and be like, why y'all wearing
Vaccine
masks?
cards, where are they? Pony them up. Let's see the vaccine
Yeah.
cards.
Ash, you should have seen when Tex was with me. I just did it today, Tex.
Oh,
There's
I don't doubt it at all.
This guy on the golf cart had a mask on. He was driving past. I'm like, whoa! And he stopped. And I was like, are you okay? Like, yeah, why? I'm like, I can't hear you. He's like, yeah, why? I'm like, what's up? Why you got a mask on? You're driving past.
Was he by himself?
Yes!
Oh Lord.
What did he say?
I mean, at 8 o'clock in the morning, there was no mask. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, mask.
What did he say?
He's like, oh no, man, I was just, I don't even know why. I
They
pulled
don't
it out."
know. They
I
don't
don't even know. I don't
have
even
no
know.
clue.
You know.
They're just conditioned to put them on.
They had no clue.
It's
You know, and
so,
the government taught us that. I just wish that we could turn around and do that to the government. Like the IRS calls you up and is like, "What are you doing with all your taxes?" You're like, "I don't know." You know, like it's confusing.
I'm
Mixed
just,
messaging.
Well, here's the and I know we're supposed to send this off on a good note, but here's the thing. Here's where I'm at. People are like, oh, what are we gonna do with this gun situation? Oh, we're gonna do this, and oh my God, they're gonna take our guns. Y'all ain't gonna do shit. And here's why y'all ain't gonna do shit.
they're not gonna take our gun.
I know, but even if they did, y'all ain't gonna do shit. And the reason
They're
why
trying to scare you. They're scaring people into voting.
No,
This is
ain't
how
no
they
way.
get their party to vote.
Americans ain't gonna do shit.
And
And the reason
that's
why-
what he's saying.
Yeah, the reason why they're not going to do shit is because if they already haven't done shit, they're not going to do shit.
No, they don't. I hate to say, but they don't have the balls. Like it won't work.
We don't. We as Americans don't have the balls. We allowed them to lock us down,
bro.
Well,
I don't think that we would allow them to come. I hope to God we wouldn't allow them to come and take our guns.
I didn't think they'd lock us down the way that they did.
I don't think that would even be possible to happen. Go ahead.
But here's the thing: we've seen countries like Australia, Canada, even for God's sakes, parts of China where people in the millions were literally pushing the fucking police officers, like, get the fuck off us. We don't want to be locked down. And Americans are like, I'm going to get this shot because what am I going to do? My 401k? I have golf carts outside. What, I got to move into a 1-bedroom? I have a 2-bedroom. What am I going to do?
It's American privilege.
And then they're like crying, but you got the shot. You're on 6 boosters now. So what are you going to do?
5 of them.
5.
But see, that's what I'm saying. So you ain't going to do shit, bitch. They're going to take your guns if they're going to take them, and you're going to sit there in your 5-bedroom house with your fucking pool. You ain't going to do shit.
I agree with
That's what
Ann.
Americans are not going to do nothing.
I do agree with Ann here. He's got a solid point.
And that's rare. You know, that's rare.
I said what the fuck I said. Get back.
I was just going through the Reddit and I was like, well, there's people that disagree. No, but like, and Ann knows that we agree actually on a lot of things. But you know, the reality is like the Democrats, the Republicans, it really doesn't matter, right? Politically, the way our system is set up is they don't like change. They don't like people that are going to come in and be radical. And so when you talk about these radical solutions, you better understand that a lot of times it's a smokescreen. It's nothing more than to talk about. And the way that we get past that, I think also with whistleblowers, is talking about like, what is the intent? When you ask what the intent of why someone says something, it makes you kind of be in a place where you're like, oh, that's really interesting, right? So what is the intent of this? Let's say if it is a smokescreen, what is the intent of them trying to talk about this so hardcore when they're actually not going to move on anything? They're going to do minor little things. They're not actually going to take guns. They're not going to come in and do all these crazy things.
You also see like the Roe v. Wade thing came about too. So first it was, and it's all the hot items, right? So they're going to do abortion. They're going to do gun control. Something will help with healthcare. Like they'll go through. And I believe that it really is to motivate their people to vote, because in all of their big spiels, it's always like, and you need to get out to the polls and make sure that women's rights aren't taken away. You need to get out to the polls and make sure that more babies aren't being slaughtered in their schools. So it moves that and it works. It works. That's why they keep doing it.
Right. Well, and exactly, right? And so again, like the intent, like and I think people like that kind of do what we all do, right? Is we kind of see that. And I think that a lot of times, like we live in a really weird world. So like social media politics wasn't prepared for. So now we're at this point where people do listen to us. We do have the opportunity to talk to people. And like whatever you choose to vote is your choice, I think. But what the reality is like you should always look at all your representatives, all your congressmen, your mayor, your council members, your local county commissioners, and go, why are they saying this? Because this has nothing to, it's because there's smoke screens, they're covering stuff up, they're looking the other way for things. And if you think that the government is not like deliberately trying to lift things up so that way you don't talk about stuff.
This is current day mafia shit. The U.S. government is
that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're the mob.
Yep.
Like if they can come to your house and knock on your door and be like, you, before you're fucking done, that's mafia activity. That's the mob shit. If they can fucking stalk you outside your house because you went to a rally, that's the mob. If they can make you take the shot,
he's right.
You're gonna do it crying, that's the fucking mob.
And then mind you, that they paid us to be quiet with those stimulus checks.
100%, bro.
It's the mob.
They're paying you out.
Those monsters I want to raise.
I feel like that's a good way to end the show. The government's the mob. Have a good night, guys.
Right?